There's a lot of people out in the world saying you need to be dedicated. Motivation is fleeting. Dedication is the goal. Those who grind the most are the most dedicated and get the most rewards. The early bird catches the worm. All of that sort of rhetoric. And I just quite frankly disagree. I think motivation is superior to dedication. And I'll explain why. Psych, I'm not explaining it. That's the end of the video. Get the fuck out of my face. No. My perspective is that we all know that motivation is subsequent to inspiration. We go out in the world, we experience life, we are present, we see things, we experience beauty, and we're inspired. So we get motivated. We think, maybe I can do something beautiful. Maybe I can make a display of valiant, triumphant effort and dedicate myself to something higher. We've all had those moments. Sometimes some people shut those thoughts up, and they think, I've got a family to feed, I ain't got time. I haven't got time for all of that. That's fine. Some of us pursue it. Some of us have less responsibilities, or some of us still have responsibilities and they still pursue their motivation. And as we all know, otherwise the rhetoric wouldn't work, eventually motivation runs out. It's in short supply. And all of a sudden, you've got a half-finished project. Maybe you're the half-finished project. You haven't learnt that song on piano. You aren't as smart as you want to be. Your grades aren't good enough. Maybe you've got a half-finished painting. Maybe it's not even a full sketch. Or maybe it's a website or a career or a business. It's not finished. Motivation ran out. So we go down this route of self-loathing, really. I'm no good. Mike Tyson never gave up. He was dedicated. I'm not like him. I'm not that strong. I haven't got what it takes. I'll never be good enough. Look at this work, it's shabby. But then eventually we do forget those horrible things we said about ourselves. And if you do just let yourself be uninspired or unproductive, which is a curse in the modern day, in a capitalist society, being unproductive. No, your worth is your productivity, at least for the shareholders. If you leave yourself for a moment to be unmotivated, you will find eventually you will be motivated again. Why is that? Because the inspiration never left. The world is still beautiful. You can still be inspired, and you will be inspired by the same thing next time you see it. Maybe you feel shameful, but that's just your own negative feedback loops in your head. That's not the world talking to you. The world's just being beautiful, and you're like, I'm so weak. Why is that your response? That's stupid. Just admire it. Be inspired. Be motivated again. Because what we need to do is we need to change our mindset from the idea that motivation is this frail thing. It's fickle. We need to be productive all the time. Motivation is a natural fuel source. We know it is. You can feel it inside of you. It wells up and you just feel compelled to move when you're motivated. And we use it. It's a fuel source. It increases, it decreases, it waxes and it wanes. And that is okay, that is normal. If you keep following this cycle of using and recovering motivation like a fuel source, you will eventually make progress in your endeavors. Maybe it's a bit slower than you want to be, and maybe you're scared of competition. It's fine. The thing is, everyone has their own capacity. Going to keep going back to this metaphor of fuel, maybe, or we could call ourselves motivation batteries, okay, or work batteries. Some people can work more than others. Some people have chronic illness. Some people are just fatigued. Some people are just a bit weak, undernourished. Maybe there's black mold in the house. You don't know what's going on. So it's hard to, expend a lot of energy, but we can, as we are biological, we aren't mechanical, we can expand our limits, we can grow. And when you keep allowing this cycle to naturally ebb and flow of pushing yourself to the limit of draining your motivation entirely, you will find that you can work more, you can be more productive, or your work is simply more productive by nature. A great plumber is faster than a new plumber. Not by virtue of his volume of dedication, but by virtue of the fact that he's just done more plumbing over time, and that applies to anything that you're motivated to do. This isn't to say dedication is completely terrible. We need dedication. We need dedication to higher causes to keep us moving when we are weak, when we are tired. But we have to understand that it's not something to be done if you intend to thrive in life. This is called survival, it's not survival. When you are running on dedication rather than motivation, you are expending what is not there. You can't expend the motivation, so you need to use your dedication. But we all know where that leads. When you use what is not there, you hit burnout, you hit a wall. Bad things happen, you start lashing out at people around you. You're not that person. You don't want to abuse your lovely wife. You don't want to snap at your kids. You don't want to glare at your colleagues or your clients. But you're just so drained. You've just been running on dedication for so long to keep you going, and that's not your fault. Maybe it was drilled into you that it needs to be done. Maybe it does need to be done. Maybe it's part of the higher cause. People sacrifice more than their attitude and their stress level. People sacrifice their lives for higher causes. It's not absurd. It's done. It's been done by humans. But in the modern day, we're not trying to sacrifice to that degree. We're trying to explore. We're trying to be creative. We're trying to self-actualize. We're trying to use the technological, spiritual wisdom that we've gained over the last 2,000 years. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Why sacrifice ourselves? Why put their lives to waste? We want to do things for our offspring. We are the offspring of others. It's fine to relish in that to some degree and use the wisdom and use the resources and make things even better using those tools. Now, down here I wrote that inspiration is the precursor to motivation. We know that. And then I kind of started writing that motivation leads to admiration, which leads to gratitude, which leads to joy. And I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I disagree with that. I don't think that adds anything. I think that was just me trying to be clever with words and failing really badly. But anyway, I feel like I kind of said everything that I needed to say. Dedication is great. It's a tool to push oneself to say, you can keep going. We need that in life. Life isn't always easy. Life can be terrible. And sometimes we're just weak and we need to say, no, this isn't enough. We're doing more. And that is how you increase your capacity, and that's how you allow yourself to be motivated for longer, with ease, to be productive with ease, to enjoy it, because we enjoy being motivated. Being motivated is compelling, it's effortless, it's natural, it's supposed to happen. I don't know where I was going with that. I forgot what I said. I've got ADHD, so I kind of forget where I'm going with things. I should write more notes next time. But I said everything I need to say. Motivation is better than dedication. Dedication's still useful, but we should try not to we should try not to, what's the word? Demonize. We should not demonize motivation. It's not weak to be motivated. It's great. It's something good. It's joyful. You know, we shouldn't punish people for wanting to seek motivation. There is something to be said about the whole jumping from project to project and using your motivation in random, disparate ways. You know, I'm going to learn piano. I'm going to become a masseuse. I'm going to compete in an arm wrestling competition. I'm going to be the best rapper alive. I'm going to be a hard-working businessman. Yeah, I mean, that's how you become like a jack of all trades, master of none. I know, I've been there, I've done a lot of this, it's immature. But that's unrelated to motivation. That's not the fault of motivation, that's just direction and focus. That's a separate issue. If you want to increase your direction and focus, there's tools for that. There's presence of mind, there's revisiting the things that give you inspiration towards a certain direction. If you want to be a good gardener, you should visit more gardens. You should put yourself in certain environments to then become part of those environments. That's one of the reasons people go to universities. They want to be around smart people who like learning, right? That's one example anyway. I mean, a lot of people want to go because they want to party, but they go to specific universities for that. Yeah, so that's not a failing of motivation. That's just a failing of your ability for self-control, and that's something that should be moderated to a degree if you want to see more significant results in one area. But even still, it shouldn't be demonized. If you want to learn guitar, and then you want to learn piano, and then you want to learn programming, you're going to learn parts of all of those things. Just don't be upset when it's not a large amount. But you still did a lot. You should be proud of yourself. Even any adventure through motivation into a project, into a new field, into a new topic will teach you new things about things you already know, and it will teach you things about fields you don't even know yet, but you can apply these tidbits of wisdom and knowledge in the future. There's no wasted effort in positively aligned endeavors. Okay? And that's what I'm trying to get out. So yeah, go out, be inspired, be motivated, make something great, enjoy yourself, and don't shame yourself afterwards. It's fine. If you want to be hardcore though. I fuck with it. I love kung fu, I love fighting sports, I love that mentality. But don't be surprised when you end up being a bit depressed at the end of the month and you feel like you can't move because your legs are so sore. And don't be surprised when you start acting like an arsehole around everyone around you, because your cortisol levels are spiked. In 2026, we are not spiking our cortisol, alright guys? Anyway, bye.